Well, recognise the junction that we're at. Here we go. Going towards Cambridge. The thing is, and for a lot of you guys watching me who want to become truck drivers, okay, you see the same kind of route over and over again. You're going to see the same high street, basically. But the more you see it, the more you see where I'm positioning, what I'm looking at, what I'm doing, the more it kind of sinks in and becomes normality for you, I suppose, if that makes sense. So I will probably, every time I come to Cambridge, I will probably set this up and edit something so that you get to see this again and again and again. Now, it's not the tightest place you're ever going to be liable. You're ever liable to go. You know, to be fair, it's not that tight at all. It's quite easy. But that's for me. That's for somebody who's been doing this for years. But for you, you're new, you're fresh out the box. Imagine it's your first day driving one of these things. And you get, hello, and you get this run, or a run exceptionally similar to it. How are you going to fit through those two lampposts a bit further on down here? You all know what I'm going on about. How are you going to do that? Where are you going to put yourself? Because if you try and go straight at it and stay on your side of the road, your trailer's going to cut and knock one of those lampposts down. Here we have a person with his child on his bike, coming up to a red light at a junction. Now, if you actually look at this scenario, oh, look at that, well done. Well done, sir, well done. Very good, very good. But if you actually looked at that scenario, let's say he hadn't have gone up onto the pavement, what you can see here is this gap gets quite tight. Okay, I can't use that lane anymore. So if I'd have tried to go past him whilst he was on the road, and he'd have stayed on the road and we'd have ended up here, he would have been squashed between the curb and me as I fit myself into this gap. Let's say the traffic lights have changed. So the safest thing to do, whether he's got a child on the back or whether he doesn't, is to hang back, stay behind him, and just go with the flow. That's realistically all you can do. But it's the only safe thing to do. So try to always bear in mind the safest thing to do, because at the end of the day it is your responsibility to not take the cyclist down. It doesn't matter whether the cyclist is being a moron or just cycling along perfectly normally like that gentleman with his child. You've got all your mirrors, you've got a brake pedal, you can see it happening, you can see it happening. So just think about what's coming up. Don't just look at the thing that's in front of you. Think about what's coming up. Think about what you've got to do. Goody gumdrops. Who's going where with what? Why? Let him go. Let that person go. Right. Trundle, trundle. Here we go. Trundle edge. Now there's a bus coming. Now think about where I'm going to need to be to not hit that curb. So go slow. The bus can then use, my trailer's blocking that roundabout, yeah? So that bus, if I go slow and block the roundabout, that bus knows he can keep going. So he gets out of my way. Do you see how that worked? I needed to kind of put myself almost where that bus was. It would be quite tight. I could have done it, probably, you know, munched a bit of the curb. But let's say you get into that situation when you're on your test. You munch a curb on your test, guess what you've done? Failed. So, go round the roundabout, you cut slightly so as your trailer blocks the roundabout, okay, nobody can get past. You slow down, you don't have to use your brake, you've identified the bus, you slow down, the bus driver is a professional. He's trundling along. He's looked for his gap in the roundabout. He's seen your trailer is blocking anything from the right. He knows he can keep going, so he's going to keep going. He even thanked me. He even did the old as he went by, didn't he? He's going to keep going. That means he's getting out of my way. Once he's out of my way, I didn't have to brake. I didn't have to stop. I slowed down. You're not going to fail your test for slowing down on a roundabout or on a manoeuvre, are you? Now you're probably sitting there going, oh, you had loads of room, why did you slow down just then? What happens if a kid runs out behind the back of that bus? See, always got to be thinking 2 steps ahead. It's the only way to successfully drive these things. But this is another reason why I like running these cameras when I'm going in situations like this, because I don't know what I'm going to meet. It could be a straightforward run, nothing particularly to point out, me blathering on about nothing. Or it could have a number of situations where I can tell you guys who've never done this before, who don't have a clue, who have your test coming up, well look, if you do it XYZ, it's free flowing, it keeps you going. Now, these are obviously the 2 lamp posts, I suppose you call them, that I'm talking about. The ones that you squeeze through. Now, if you tried to stay in your lane and do that with a trailer on, that turn, without braking your lane, everything on the near side would be flattened. I'm not even remotely joking. You have to go wide before you go through that. Because if you don't, you're going to have to go wide afterwards. And if you don't, you can't because of vehicles, there's going to be a oops-a-daisy. So what you need to do is you need to come on, go over, line up, wallop, straight through. Because you try and do that any other way, there's going to be a oops-a-daisy, and you're going to be having a phone call explaining why you just twatted somebody on the head with a lamppost. Yeah. But no, you've always got to, with driving as a general rule, not just in these things, but with driving as a general rule, you've always got to try and think 2 steps ahead. You know, do you need to use your brake? Well, no. Can you use your exhaust brake? Yes. Well, then there you are then. You know, your exhaust brake, your continuous brake, Jake brake, is a good thing to use. It maintains momentum, stops you having to use your brake, your foot brake, and keeps you going. So, always be trying to plan what you can do, what's the best course of action. For example, I move over here, they move on to there, that person's reversing, I thought they were pulling off, that was my bad. That person's doesn't quite know how to parallel park. Not doing a bad job. They're a little bit, as she's, there we go, look at that. Walla walla walla. Not done a bad job, but only because she had the entire pavement. And I'm not saying it's because it's a woman. I know lots of blokes who do that before anybody goes, oh, you're sexy. No. Trust me, I am pretty as far as opposite to sexist as you can be. In actual fact, I think women are better than men. Completely. Beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt. But then again, I'm a heterosexual red-blooded male, of course I'm going to think women are better than men. Oh always go wide, use as much room as you can. That Vauxhall's perfect, absolutely perfect. You see what happens when somebody on the road actually follows the lane markings? Loads of room, nice and easy. But anyway, here we go. I shall keep this going until I've done my favourite junction. Again, just to keep hammering it home, put yourself in the same place. Make sure you understand what you're doing in that situation. I know it's repetitive, I know you've seen it many times before in my vlogs, but the more you see it, the more it sinks in, the more you realise what you're doing, and the greater chance you have of 1, passing your HGV when you come to do it in a Class 1 vehicle, and 2, avoiding stupid, idiotic, beginner accidents when you start driving. Because imagine if you tried to do this one by staying right close to that bike lane. I've got to do a 90-degree left-hand turn with a triaxle trailer. I'm 54.2 feet long. If I tried to stay next to that bike lane and do this, what's going to happen to that railing? It's going to go, isn't it? So you just stay wide, turn about there, voila, look at that. As simple as that. How easy is that?